see. I'm going to do this case. My mother keep asking me to do this case with this man. Where is it at? Oh, here. Ma, you keep asking me to do this story with this man.
Yeah, I think that client's not going to.
Yeah. There was an arrest made. Arrest made in 1994 cold case murder of a Virginia mother after DNA testing and a confession, the police said. Okay? Mm-hmm. Police in Virginia announced the arrest of a man for 1994 cold case murder of a 37-year-old woman. They didn't even know anything about this. They had shut the case down. Right. They couldn't find the person. It was over. Well, guess what happened? The Fairfax County Police Department said that this guy, Stephen Smirk, 51, is a suspect in the murder of Robin Lawrence, who was found stabbed to death inside her home in Springfield, Virginia in 1994 by Lawrence's daughter. Found by Lawrence's daughter. Only 2 years old she was only 2 years old at the time of the murder, was found alone in the room. So he did it in front of her daughter. Oh. The nearly 30-year-old case was solved, but police said after genetic testing, investigators were then able to obtain a DNA sample from him at his home in New York. Later, a full confession to the crime, police said. Smirk, who was on active duty in the Army at the time of the murder, had been living at Fort Myer Base in Northern Virginia when the killing occurred, the police said. He chose her seemingly randomly, and it was heinous crime scene. And I've seen a lot of crime scenes in person, but the photographs of this one, he said, was particularly gruesome. Fairfax County Police Chief Kevin Davis said at a press conference.
Was this a racial thing?
I don't know. Smirk had no prior arrest record before being taken into custody this month, and police said they don't believe he was suspected by any similar crimes. Smirk had no apparent connection to the victim, police said. He's currently in custody in New York and is awaiting extradition to Virginia. ABC News was not immediately able to locate legal representation for Smirk. It says, we as the family who's sitting here to my left would like to thank the Fairfax Police Department. We look forward to learning more about the process and the next steps. That's what a cousin said. Police collected DNA from 1994 crime scene, but had no matches to the genetic profile. Because remember, he don't have nothing against him.
Right, there's nothing in the system.
The use of the genetic analysis helped break the case after cold case detectives submitted DNA to Virginia DNA technology based on some police department. Investigators were able to develop a profile using that DNA and began searching databases. They used that information to develop a family tree, which they provided to our detectives and a volunteer who worked with our cold case detectives. Before traveling to New York, the cold case detectives say they compared a sketch of the suspect high school yearbook picture with a DMV picture of him in 1990. Smirk's willingness to cooperate was highly unusual, and so there was no clue to our detectives that something may be afoot. So he basically was almost waiting on pins and needles for somebody to come to him. And then he confessed to it.
It's like he had to release this.
He couldn't get over it.
Wow.
But isn't it something how they took the DNA? That's that Ancestry.com stuff.
Right.
They can take your DNA. Oh, this everybody gonna get caught now. They can take your DNA sample and they may not have you, but they can tie it to your tree.
Your relative.
So they know it's somebody in your family. Somebody in this lineage.
And that's how they found out?
That's how they found out.
It was the daughter that was 2.
No. His DNA, the guy who killed her. Uh-huh. His DNA was found at the crime scene. They took his DNA. It didn't match him. It matched his tree. He doesn't have anything in the system, so they couldn't match him. Wow. They matched his tree.
But what if his tree, because his tree must have had something. Somebody must have been in the system.
Like right now, if you go to Ancestry.
Don't somebody have to be in the system?
No. Let me explain it to you. When you go to Ancestry.com and we put in our blood thing or whatever, when they do that thing, they can tell you who your cousins are. They can tell you your lineage.
That's if your family has done that.
No. You don't. Your family don't have to do nothing. Oh. They know your history from your tree because I don't know, whatever.
I thought it's other DNA that may have been entered in and that matches that tree line, that whole line of family.
I don't know how Ancestry.com
because it doesn't make sense if they have nothing else to go on.
But Ancestry.com, maybe you're right. I don't know. Somebody
but they
in
traced
family,
back to him,
yeah,
which they found out he was at that place in that area at that time.
It said Davis added the evidence that we have the strength of this case is overwhelming, and we feel fully comfortable that he's going to be successfully prosecuted right here in Fairfax County.
But he pretty much kind of admitted it too.
No, he did admit it, and he said,
what if he would have said, "I didn't do it. I wasn't there." Saying.
He could have been like, "Go to somebody else in the family tree. It's not me."
Yeah,
he admitted it.
See,
I think the Holy Spirit of somebody was weighing heavy on his chest.
Wow.
What do you think, Ma?
Yeah, he killed somebody.
And he got away with it.
What would make him do that? Just random. Like, did this person bother him or say something to him?
I don't know.
Was he dating her?
Something had to. You just don't. And he's military.
Yep.
So that shows you who's fighting for our country can be cuckoo.
Yeah.
Huh?
She could have been dating him.
I don't know.
That's what I'm
trying to figure out.
He's telling everything they said, so he's gonna tell everything.
He'll tell the story. Then
He's gonna tell the story.
We'll do a follow-up.
It said random, Mom.